Our school ANZAC Day ceremony has commenced. Please not clap during the ceremony. Before we begin today, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land which we meet. Yagara Nation, and pay my respects to the Turrbal people. We recognise the continuing connection to the land, waterways and community. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. Welcome viewers, parents, staff and students to Bray Parkside High School's virtual ANZAC Day ceremony for 2020. This year is different in many ways, with many challenges. Although the COVID-19 pandemic is causing havoc for special events, we are determined to pay our respects to those who sacrificed their lives for us. So as we stand in our lounge rooms, we, the leaders of 2020, welcome you to our very special coverage. We would like to acknowledge our special guest present today, Miss Nikki Boyd, MP, Member for Pine Rivers, who will be appearing very shortly.
On this day, above all days, we remember those Australian men and women who died or suffered in the great tragedy of war. On the morning of April 25, 1915, Australian and New Zealand troops landed under fire at Gallipoli. And it was then, and in the violent campaign which followed, that the ANZAC tradition was forged. The elements of that tradition have inspired and offered an enduring example to later generations of Australians. Each year, we pay homage, not only to these original ANZACs, but to all who died or were disabled in their service to this country. They enrich our nation's history. Their hope was for the freedom of mankind, and we remember with pride their courage, their compassion, and their camaraderie. They served on land, in the sea, and in the air, in many places throughout the world. Not only do we honour the memory of those Australians who have fallen in battle, we share the sorrow of those who have mourned them and of all who have been the victims of armed conflict. On this day, we remember with sympathy those Australians who have suffered as prisoners of war, and those who, because of war, have had their lives shortened or handicapped. We recall staunch friends and allies, and especially those of the first ANZAC Day. May we and our successors prove worthy of their sacrifices. I would now like to welcome our guest speaker, Ms. Nikki Boyd, MP, Member for Pine Rivers, to the live stream.
Thank you for the opportunity to be involved in today's ANZAC Day service. As your state representative, it's an honour to participate in the school community and to mark this occasion. ANZAC spirit has different meanings for each of us, and yet ANZAC is an instantly identifiable marker of our unique Australian character. From the tradition that tempered our nation on the cliffs at Gallipoli to the reality lived by those serving today, ANZAC has been a testament of Australian culture for over 100 years. ANZAC places are ingrained in our national psyche and extend far beyond Gallipoli or World War I to dozens of places that create a combined roll call of sacrifice. Each generation understands the burden of ANZAC is a debt we cannot live up to, except to continue to live as the country that we are, generous and free. In a truly unique way, Australia uses ANZAC Day to reflect on the events of military past, to emphasise remembrance and to contemplate the lessons of our history. I'll hope that you'll join me in doing just that today, lest we forget.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. Thank you for giving your time to support our school. Flowers have been traditionally laid on the graves and memorials in the memory of the dead. Rosemary, symbolising remembrance, is popular on ANZAC Day. Laurel is also a commemorative symbol. Woven into a wreath, it was used by the ancient Romans to crown the victors and the brave as a mark of honour. Wreaths represent our commitment as a community to remember the fallen. They symbolise our honour to those who have served and are currently serving in the armed forces, and to the families who endure the sacrifices every day on our behalf. I now welcome my fellow school captains, Talia Stringer and Taylor Pascoe, for the reading of the third resolution, followed by Ode to the Fallen.
The third resolution. This meeting gives us assurance that those who have fallen shall be held in sacred memory, and that those who have survived the perils of war will ever be honoured and remembered with gratitude by the people whose hearts and homes they went forth to save, so that our freedom and our free institutions might survive.
Ode to the Fallen. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget.
The Flanders red poppies have become a symbol of World War I after their appearance on the bloody battlefields of northern France and Belgium. Soldiers claim that the poppies derived their vivid red colour from the blood of fallen soldiers. Today, the Flanders red poppies are worn and recognised as a powerful symbol, a reminder of the sacrifice and bloodshed of our fallen servicemen and women from all the wars that Australia and New Zealand have fought in, from as far back as the Boer War and as recent as the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They died not only for their honor and country, but to protect our very freedom and way of life. Today we honor its symbolism and remember those who served our country during World War I and every war and conflict since with a traditional presentation of poppies.
In military tradition, the last post is the bugle call that signifies the end of the day's activities. It is also sounded at military funerals to indicate that the soldier has gone to his final rest, and at commemorative services such as ANZAC Day and Remembrance Day. The last post is one of a number of bugle calls in military tradition that mark the phases of the day. While reverently signals the start of a soldier's day, the last post signals its end. During the evening, a duty officer moved around his unit's position, checking that the sentry posts were manned and sending the off-duty soldiers to their beds. The first post was sounded when the duty officer started his rounds, while a final bugle call indicated the completion of these rounds, when the last post was reached. The 1-minute silence is a sign of respect. It offers time for reflection on the significance of ANZAC Day.
On the 6th of November 1919, George V sent a special message to the people of the Commonwealth, in which he stated, "I believe that my people, in every part of the empire, fervently wish to perpetuate the memory of that great deliverance, and of those who laid down their lives to achieve it." The King requested a complete suspension of all our normal activities. Be observed for 2 minutes at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, so that, in perfect stillness, thoughts on everyone may be concentrated on remembrance of the glorious dead. The 2-minute silence was first observed in Australia on the first anniversary of the armistice. In recent times, 1 minute of silence has been observed at Australian commemorative events such as ANZAC Day and Remembrance Day ceremonies.
The rouse is the call used in conjunction with the last post at commemorative services such as Remembrance Day, at dedication services, and at military funerals. The rouse is a short bugle call that was also used to call soldiers to their duties. After the 1-minute silence, the rouse is sounded, during which flags are raised from the half-mast to the masthead. One of our wind ensemble members, Morgan DeRosa, will now perform the last post. Following the last post, we will pause for 1-minute silence to honour those who fought and died for Australia's freedom. After the 1-minute silence, the rouse is sounded, performed by Morgan DeRosa on the trumpet. Please join me in standing.
Lest we forget. Please remain standing while Strings captain Charlotte Morrissey-Tell performs God Defend New Zealand, followed by Events Australia Fair performed by vocal captain Jessica Vincent.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea, our land's about in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and thrive. In history's page, let every sage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with heart and hand to make this Commonwealth of ours renowned of all the land. For those who come across the sea, we've boundless plains to share. With courage let us all combined advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, Charlotte and Jessica. As our ANZAC Day ceremony for 2020 concludes, I'd like to thank our special guests, parents, staff and students for being a part of this virtual assembly on this very important occasion. The school captains, sport captains, music captains and myself We'd like to thank you for being a part of this very unique and special coverage this year. I'm very thankful for the resilient, strong and supportive leadership team we have for 2020, as we continue to pursue the normal school calendar events and beyond during this difficult time. From the Brae Park community, stay safe, stay well and stay connected.